an intimacy transformation facilitator and soul leadership mentor whose work bridges sacred sexuality and multidimensional healing for women who are ready to break free from shame, perfectionism, and performance, and who are ready to reclaim their erotic truth as a source of power. Today, the topics that we cover are from everything from surrender and decision making, the power of pleasure, conscious versus unconscious pleasure, the art of self-love and intimacy, all the way to communication as a tool for connection and resensitizing and rebuilding trust, creating safe spaces for intimacy. We have an incredibly juicy conversation that we started as soon as we jumped on the call before we started recording. And so at some point we decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and record where we are. And that is exactly what we did. So this recording is a little bit different, but we are allowing you into our conversation from the beginning. So let's dive in. Yeah, I should have known better that this conversation was just going to be from the beginning.
We're just gonna bloom into it because you are a highly functional, like, I don't know, what do you call yourself? Priestess, a witch? Like, what do you?
You know,
Because
it's
you're
funny because
highly something.
I don't know what to call myself. I mean, I know that priestess is a huge part of it. Like I am, that is the work that I do on, but it's also priestess. The word is so overused anymore. It's like, do I really want to
I know.
use
It's like, do
that
I even
word? Like,
resonate with that word?
but it is real. Like it is what we're doing.
Feel
And
like
so
we're
I
like
don't even,
doula, but then even doula is a little bit not really. But we're ushering. We're also holding. We're like birthing, and at the same time enjoying ourselves and reveling in the beauty and fun of it.
yes, exactly. There's a lot. I was calling myself a soul tantrika for a little while, because it's
Mhm.
more like working on a soul level. I don't really know what to call myself. So here I am.
Here you are, nameless, formless, but with a
I,
beautiful purpose, and that
yeah,
I don't even know
yeah.
what it is yet, but I can already feel that it's resonating.
Guide, facilitator. I mean, those are just things that we do, right? I mean, so
Yeah, those
it's,
are the things that we do. At the end of the day, was just being and getting everyone to be too.
yeah, I think we're in, like we were just talking about, and I'll say it, like I wish we were recording that aspect of it, but like we're here doing something so big. Like we're here ushering in this change in humanity, and we're here for this. And those of us that have been on this path for a very long time, we're kind of in some way holding that ground for others right now as they're moving through this huge transformational process in humanity.
It's as if that there's this huge wave that is happening, and everyone who's been born into or who's alive right now has been born into this age. Everyone has their own roles, and you've been cultivating them without even realizing, some consciously, some unconsciously, and every single experience in your life that's led to this point, and all the listeners as well, like, has been preparing you, right? And even listening to this message at this moment in time is it's been revealing to you how you can show up, what you need to do, how you come back to yourself so that you can be prepared to take on this radical transformation that's going to continuously unfold, shedding all the things that were synthetic, all the things that were not you, and then show up as this usher or this lubricant of this beautiful new space that is emerging, right? Everything is falling apart.
It is.
And then everything rebuilds after falling apart naturally, right? It's just the cycle. And the cycles are getting faster and faster. The destruction, the creation, the destruction, the creation. Look at the wars, look at the economic system, look at the politics. It's just Look at the
Everything.
cancel culture, right? It's just Phoenix rising. That's what we're talking about. Like the transformation. It's not that there's one big wave and it's going to be the wave. I see it more as like the speed of these like Phoenix to ashes, like increasing, and us having to ever more be so solid and so planted in our truth and in our sovereignty and in our healing, like our process of healing, and also in our recognition of those parts of us who that's already healed, and then our freedom to choose, so that we can like be with all of the cycles of destruction and rebirth.
Yeah,
They're
we are.
simultaneously happening.
It's definitely happening, and I'm sure that you are kind of. I mean, I feel like you're probably also connected to this. Like I remember the cycles that we've gone through before. Like as a planetary, as the humanity, we've gone through these multi like cycles of death and rebirth where things have collapsed. And I feel like we're in that place right now again, where there is kind of like that we have a choice. Like, where are we going to decide to go? And how are we going to move through this as a collective? But I feel like there's so many of us shifting and awakening right now that it's a possibility that we're not going to have the same experience as we've had before. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, you're saying that the world is not going to be the same.
Yeah, yeah, we're not
Yeah,
going to. It's not going to be the
yeah.
same.
And I
And
don't see those choices as something that's going to be like a fork in the road. Like, I almost don't
mhm,
see the choice. I think there's a big misconception. Maybe it is. Who knows, right?
mhm,
Maybe it's like Judgment Day and you like pick the green pill or the red pill or the blue pill or whatever. And maybe it is that clear and that contrasting
mhm,
experiences and choices. However, the way I see it manifesting currently is in our little choices that are being thrown at us. Are
mhm.
you going to go into triggered state? Are you going to stay sovereign? Are you going to entertain? You can see the spiral, the downward spiral over there. Are you going to go that one, or are you going to stay in your own
Mhm.
center at this moment? And that's how I'm seeing it play out as little baby tests that are preparing us for it, which is why the work that we're going to be talking about today is so cool and so fun and um, and so exciting.
How like we mentioned it just a little bit before I hit record, but this place of like we're being asked every day, as you said, to like step. Where are we going to step into? Like, are we going to remain in our sovereignty? To remain like nothing is linear anymore. It's not just this path. It's a consistent, like it's almost like, and I've been feeling this for a couple of years, and you pointed this out just a little bit ago, how we can't, how did you say it? It's almost like, gosh, it's slipping my mind, but we can't plan for things. It's almost like nothing is concrete in a way. And how I've seen this play out in my life is almost in that sense. Like, I could create a plan, I could put things into motion, into action, and then everything's like, okay, like upside down. Like, how can, like, now move forward in this direction? And it's almost like there's no sense of groundedness, but it's finding that safety and confidence and the continuous like motion and movement. I'm trying to put this, what the
Yeah,
vision
for
that I
sure.
have, okay, into words. It's not always easy to
No,
take from
I
here.
get it. I get
And
it. It's like a for those of you who have had a psychedelic journey before, it's like there's a level of surrender because you don't know what's going to come next. And this can be seen in, all the crises that we've experienced on a world large scale in these last couple of years. And then there's also the business books and the finance books and the what should you do in a systematic way, right? how can you plan for this from a KPI, quarterly review kind of perspective. So there's definitely, like, I'm definitely seeing that there is merit in seeing visions and seeing how we want our financial health or our sexual health or like whatever health to look like. And
Mhm.
then the old paradigm is just then set the mini goals and how it translates into like a 1 minute exercise per day in order to hit those experiences and life experiences or numbers. And at the same time, now that we know at any moment in time this whole thing can get dismantled, you know, how are you going to hit your whatever retirement amount of money that you want, or the most magnificent life partnership that you want if you are in your 40s and 50s and you're still and you're experiencing solo-ness in your walk through life, right? So at the same time now we're experiencing all these changes and we're seeing that our visions may not be reflecting our realities. And this is where it comes in, that's the centeredness and the trust that as a constantly evolving person that's always answering to the call of stepping up, stepping into more truth, making decisions from a place of love versus fear, trust versus scarcity, um, connection to our truth versus connection to external truth and external influence is going to really hold us here. And so there's a perspective which you're so beautifully alluded to, that groundedness to then come back into our center and then saying, okay, do we make a right turn or a left turn here? We're blinded, we don't see the vision, we don't see what's coming, but what is that centerpiece that is our inner truth? I call it the infinite being, infinite body, infinite pleasure, because I also involve our pleasure into decision making, and then looking at what feels the most aligned, lightest, most that will bring most fulfillment
Mhm.
inside out, and then looking at, okay, how can we, the structures, the analytics, how can the physical structure support us, the house that we live in, or the country, or the physical components, how can that support? So so that's my take on it. It's that combination of both intuitive led and also mind supporting. So the mind is supporting the vessel and the spirit that you are, because the only one that can see everything is the part of you that is with the everything, which is your infinite self or your higher self, some people might call that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you touched on a very, it was a word, surrender. Surrender is something that I really had to drop into through my life. Like, really learn the art of surrender was a big part of it for me. So I'm glad you touched on that. You also said something about pleasure, like in bringing in pleasure as a piece of that. Can you like share more about that? That sounds
Yeah, for
beautiful. Like,
sure.
more pleasure in the life is exactly what we need.
Yes. So if you guys have been really confused what I do so far, since we
Yes,
just jumped straight in,
I we did
I
we
am
did
a
just
I am a leadership coach. So I coach leaders and I do a deep energy work, which is where all of this energy sensitivity and awareness comes from. And then pleasure is my tantric intimacy central liberation work. Have done multiple books, one bestseller, and then traveled all over the world, sharing this with like retreats, groups, one-on-ones all over. And so pleasure is a huge part of this big picture and the small picture because it connects our bodies with our decisions. So our decisions are not just this thing that's outside of us that we think is going to make us happy, but it's actually a tool of embodiment. It's the bridge between our hearts, our throats, and our genitals. And so pleasure is, why are we including our pleasures into decision making, is because at the end of the day, for some people, a human experience includes sensations. The feeling of fulfillment is a somatic experience. It's not a checkbox. It's a sensation that's running in your body from your heart, spreading outwards, maybe. People say that when they have their first child, right, that they have never felt this much love in their life before. It's like bursting from their bodies, even though they don't get any sleep and it's chaotic and all that. And so pleasure is love in all of its forms, intimacy and connection in all of its forms. It's finding people that think or can appreciate and see you. That's pleasurable. Pleasurable is like being able to experience like a little wiggly sensation in your hips and you just want to dance with it. It is smelling your favorite food. It's seeing your grandmother's eye twinkle when she has a tear when she sees you. It's all these little moments that add up to meaning. And it can also be deep love, the deepest kind of love that you can experience in your cervix or your orgasmic times. And so why is it important to have pleasure as part of our decision making? It's, first of all, there's two types of pleasures, many, 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 many different types of pleasures, but I want to bring out two different ones, which one is there's erotic primal pleasure, which is beautiful, and there is unconscious pleasure, and then there's conscious pleasure. So
Can you
unconscious
elaborate
pleasure
on those?
is,
Yeah.
huh?
I
Yeah,
said, can you
unconscious
elaborate?
pleasure
Yes.
is when you are not breathing with it. You're not breathing with it, and you're not connected to your soul with it. You're only in the thing that's running you, but you're not actually here. You're still
Mm-hmm.
disconnected. And so sometimes when you're watching, let's say, porn, you might be connected to the thing in the picture and your body might be feeling an orgasm, but you're actually not going inside and your heart is not connected. So you might feel that it's going through a mechanical form of pleasure, but that fulfillment and that burst of energy may not be, the message may not be, I love you. Like you are so precious to me, to your body. That might not be the case. Another form of unconscious pleasure, it could be um, purely physical, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that when I'm talking about decision making, I'm talking about conscious pleasure. Conscious pleasure means breath work with yourself, connecting to your heart, feeling every sensation that's in your skin, being able to touch yourself and breathe into it, slowing down, allowing your body to tell you what he or she wants, being able to connect to your intuitive somatic system and calming yourself down. It's not urgent. Doesn't need to go anywhere. It's not performative. It's a place of safety. It's a place of like a nest. And it's a place where you're holding yourself as if you're holding a baby, just watching, okay, what does he or she need? Does she want to be caressed right now? Does he want to feel safe? Does he want to feel desired right now? Okay, how can I make myself feel that right now? So that's sort of the vibration and like the context of where conscious pleasure exists. It's non-judgmental, it's very open, and it's extremely empowering experience. It's a place that the best lover you can imagine holds you in, and that you're giving to yourself.
Can you
So
dive into that? Yes. How do we give that to ourselves?
I would love to share that. But do I need to talk about how that connects to why it's important to have that as a part of your decision making?
Yes,
To
please
kind of finish
do.
the
And all
answer.
of it.
I'm like, I need to finish that answer. Um, so when you're asking yourself a question like, hey, peach, or hey, um, I don't know, eggplant, elephant. My friend was like, "Oh, if yours is called peach, is mine an elephant?" And I'm like, "You can be an elephant nose if you want." So you can talk to yourself and you say, "Hey, like, what would it look like, in 10 years if we were going to take this route? How would you feel about that? are you a yes or a no, or like what experience would you be having? And you can receive that energetically, and you can be like, what if I take the other route, and what would that experience be like? And you can take that energetically. And of course, you got to clear everything, which is the energy work piece. You got to clear all the points of views that could be in your way of doing this. You need to be clearing all the structures that are holding you down from accessing their voice, structure down about being attached to a certain outcome. You need to be non-attached to be able to hear their voices clearly.
Mm.
And then you also need to be able to trust yourself and trust, okay, this is the voice of my genitals, this is the voice of my heart, this is the voice of my mind. Analytically, what looks better if we were going to chart it out, or if we're going to think about it from a pros and cons or risk management perspective. And then when you have all these pieces, it's almost like you have all the departments of you come together and look at this experience holistically and seeing, okay, like what is it that's gonna take me, like what is the most joyful, if you're optimizing for joy, if you're optimizing for fulfillment, if you're optimizing for abundance and prosperity, if you're optimizing for health, then you would look at, okay, which action, and is it, first of all, is there a way for everyone to talk to each other and like come to a conclusion of which one's better? If not, then which one of these would bring me a future that is most appealing?
Mm.
And the journey of it too, right? So it's about listening to all the pieces, putting them all together, and then giving them the attention to see, okay, from my Excel spreadsheet, this is the right decision. From my pH or my genitals, this is the right decision that feels the lightest, feels the most nourishing, makes me feel the most loved. And then from a social perspective, economical perspective, maybe like a socially acceptable perspective, this might be what it's looking for. And then you can always clear that if that's not what you want to be driving you that forward, or driving you forward with so much weight. Yeah. So that's how you engage your pleasure. And why is it important? Because when you take action that involves your pleasure, then they feel like they have a voice, and you feel more alive. And if you're the kind of person who's optimizing for feeling more alive in this world in a deeper way, your spirit feels more alive. Your prosperity also feels more alive, because then your abundance and your prosperity becomes a living being rather than just a transactional experience with the world.
Yeah.
Um, that's a way to put it from the energetic perspective.
And I think that's really powerful because I mean, as you're speaking, what I'm visualizing and what I can feel, and I've been there in my life as well, how we get so disconnected from that part of ourselves, from the pleasure, and we're always in go 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 mode, especially in our society here. It's consistently go. And so to just take that moment to come back to your body, to come back to what does bring me pleasure, what does light me up, what does make me happy. And the way that you describe it is in the different places in your, even in your body, your genitals for one. Like, how many of us really ask ourselves in that way, like, what do I want? Like, what makes me happy? And so I picture, like, on this larger scale, when we make decisions, like how much of that would change when we actually ask our genitals what we want, not just like what it looks like on paper, but what is it that makes us really light up with pleasure? Because that's where the magnetism comes from. That's where, like, when we really light up from the inside out, like everything is just drawn to us anyway. Like, that is like, we become this light beam.
You're on heat. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't need to feel, you don't need to do much. Just, this is our natural power. This is our sustainable wind, solar, every type of renewable energy, because it's generated from within. We're not externally validating. We're not relying on a certificate or a approval or a medication or a tea or a caffeine. Like, we're not relying on the outside. This is totally inner sourced, and it lights us up, right? It makes us feel more open. It makes us feel happier, and in a way that is sustainable if you're doing it consciously.
Yeah, I know I am the type of person that if I'm not lit up about something, bless you. If I'm not lit up about something, it doesn't it doesn't really work. Bless you. Like I
Yeah.
have to be lit up from the inside out. Like that's just the way that my makeup is like that's just the way that I'm made. Because I'm not a natural like I've had people want me to do sales jobs and I do not. If I believe in something and it lights me up from the inside out, it's just like it's just a natural attraction. So I love
Not only is it a natural attraction, it is like it is a natural sale.
mhm,
It is a natural everything, right? And so what we're really looking at when we're talking about genital involvement is
yes.
that it is a natural flow. And when we're in a natural flow, then we can also invite our masculine to support this flow, right? So we're creating structures that create, which is our pleasure practice in our
Mhm,
central liberation program, which then creates this flow in a predictable manner. And that flow and that pleasure, the fallacy is that it has to be a 10 out of 10 orgasm all the time. The other time I was like, oh, people just think you're just walking around dripping. Although there was definitely a time where I was doing yoga and I was like dripping and I was like, ooh, interesting. And I was like trying to rub my thighs together and be like, okay. And I was like, what is this white little bubble on my mat?
Energetic.
um, so it's just like, but it's that giggly flirtation with life, you know? It's that
Mhm,
like thing that like makes you giggle, light up, and still be a powerful boss lady and a powerful leader and a powerful person that can show up and be resilient and get all the structures together to make sure that everyone's taken care of. And
mhm,
so it's that balance for sure that allows for full empowerment and activation.
mhm. How does like as we talk about the yoga and the pleasure and actually like feeling that the juiciness of life, like it's that life force, like sexual energy, that dragon current, like just that like bubbling over that we can actually feel ourselves. And so and I've had the same experience with my yoga. Like it's you can orgasm in, it's like doing yoga with just the energy that's moving and flowing in your own body that you don't need someone else to do. Like you can generate that energy yourself, and that energy is really what you work with as well. Can like the pleasure practice that women like can generate this energy for themselves. Can we dive, are you open to talking a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think this is the other question that we were talking about earlier too. It's like,
Yeah.
how can we be the best lovers to ourselves?
Hmm.
This question really came to my mind because I was noticing that I was outsourcing my desire like to
Mm.
partner, right? And just feeling like, oh man, like I noticed that when I feel turned on, I'm desiring partner to really come and meet that. And then when it's met, it feels great. But when it's not met, there's disappointment and expectation. And I was like, why do I have to be at the mercy of another person's desire and interest and timing and capacity and everything? And so it really was born out of that in that expression of why is it that when I put it in my schedule to self pleasure that I would skip it, but if I put it in my schedule to go pick someone up from school or go do something, I'll show up for that. Why is it that, when I am turned on. I like wiggle in excitement. But when it's with my own fingers, it's just like, okay, cool. Like, let's go through this, you know? And so these are the questions I was like, why is it that, you know, we always talk about self-love. We got to give it to ourselves first, right? And the very traditional self-love communication. And I'm like, why is it that we cannot give this to ourselves? Why are we relying on an outside source to love our insides better than we ever known how? How many of us have gone into our vaginal canal and mapped out every single point, caressed, connected with, spoken to every part, every inch, every centimeter, every millimeter, every, you know, every spot of ourselves, and asked her or him, you know, what would you like next? Is this too soft? Is this too hard? Do we want more pressure? What is happening? Do you just want a cuddle today? Do you want to feel safe? Should I hold you right now? Do you just want to cry in my arms? You know, intimacy exists in so many different forms. Why is it
True.
that we can't provide ourselves with that type of love? The love that we seek so deeply. And so why is it that we can't feel seen, fully nourished, fully acknowledged, fully celebrated in who we are? Because we're with ourselves all the time, and we can see ourselves more clearly than anyone else if we choose to. We can also criticize ourselves if we choose to. And so that was that birth, the movement of self-pleasure with the emphasis on liberated love. One of our memberships is called Liberated Love, which is all about yoga flow, sensuality, feeling sensual in your yoga and feeling connected to your body in your yoga. And the Central Liberation Program is layer by layer, liberating yourself to dismantle so much stuff that is not even yours to carry, to prevent you from actually feeling that inside of yourself, feeling your cervix, feeling her speak to you. One of my clients was saying that she felt disconnected with her body, even though she was so connected to it in other people's eyes and in her own eyes in the whole last, you know, 5 to 10 years of this work that she's been doing. And another client was just saying that, you know, after sexual assault experiences as a young boy, he felt completely um, like the way that he addressed sexuality and experienced it in his life was really warped. And he didn't really want that to be the permanent structure of how he experiences sex anymore. And it was really to rewrite that whole neural pathway of love by, people say, reparenting, right? But it's almost like a recoding of what love means on the deepest levels when you're able to give that to yourself as if you are your best lover, as if this lover is someone you so desired, so sees you. So there's one day that I was, it's easier to tell from my own stories because, you know, there's so many stories I hear daily from clients, and it takes a while for me to get the permissions on which ones I can share.
For
And so
sure.
I will share my own story. There was just one day that, you know, I was, so for women sometimes to increase our levels of arousal, in the third module, module 3, we talk about communication and 8 different frameworks: before sex, during, and after. And during sex, there's this one layer that we talk about arousal and how we can actually communicate arousal and the levels of it from 1 to 10. And so usually for women that I worked with a lot, that it takes a while from them to go from like a 3 to a 4, 4 to a 5, 4.5 to a, or 5.5 to a 6. It takes a while to sort of like build up because it requires a lot of safety. Sometimes we need some emotional intimacy, then maybe some like energetic intimacy, maybe some sensuality. Maybe we talk about something different and then we come revisit it. It's like a dance, right? There's a lot of different aspects, and there's also obviously the primal aspect that can be hot when certain parts of the body, as erogenous zones, are being pressed and caressed, and there could be like intensity and then relaxing and then intensity and relaxing. There's like a lot of different variations and musical structures of how this could play out. And at one point, I remember like getting really close to climax and just feeling a little bit like shy, like edging close and then edging away, edging close and edging away, and then edging close and then edging away. Did the whole breath work, which we also teach orgasmic breath work in module 1, and to hold arousal, because sometimes it's easy for it to slip away. And a lot of women experience it to, the mindset, if they're not in the right spot and if it's not in the right rhythm, then it just kind of slips away, especially if you don't have like visual aid or other aids, and you're just purely doing it very organically. So we do the breath work to maintain. For men, it's like doing the breath work to reduce arousal so it doesn't go over. So it works a little different. Or however you want to, it's just basically a conscious arousal management. You can choose to increase or decrease based on your intention and the breath pattern. And then at that moment, I was just thinking to myself, you know what? I just really want to hear "I love you," like these words from someone that loves me, you know? And or it's like I just want to hear "I love you" in a deeply genuine vibration, the kind that like opens up your pupils, the kind that you open up your pupils and you're like, really? And the kind that makes your whole face like search for the truth and the confirmation that this is true, and that you're just so fully seen and accepted. And it's like, with all of my flaws, yes, it's like, it's you, it's not what you perform, it's not all of the stuff that, it's not just your body, it's beyond that, it's just your intelligence, your the way you walk through life, like, the way you did life, the way you healed, the way you show up, like the way you just light up, you know, your space when you walk through it, the way you've cultivated and created your life, and all of that, right? And so it was like thinking to myself, like, what would I want? How do I acknowledge my girlfriends? How do I acknowledge my friends? And then having that boomerang, how to then acknowledge myself and tell myself that love while, and being in close contact with my cervix. And in that moment, you know, the arousal just rose and rose, and that emotional intimacy got met. And I was like, wow, like I didn't realize that I could fulfill my emotional intimacy too. And then it like bubbled up and it just kept rising. And I just felt like this heart, genital, throat, and face and vibration come through my arms and just envelope me with a blanket of like soft, expansive, like winged, like orgasm experience. And I was like, oh, like I appreciate this. I was just like reveling in it and like bathing in it. And I was just like, thank you so much to myself to even recognize the creativity and the possibility of loving myself in a way that I can take all of my best lovers and my imagined lovers and beyond that, and put them into a way that I would, and the way that I show up for my friends to then receive that love. And then I
Yes.
realized that this week I'm going to have all of my students find out how to be their best lovers because it's so much fun and so powerful too. So then you're not then now going to your lover and you're not going to them being like, hey, fill me up, put
Yeah.
yourself in me, fill me up, or be the vessel for me to fill up. Like that, you're going to them being like, I'm full, let's see what we can create together. And it's a completely different standpoint in terms of ownership of our desires and ownership of our pleasure and self-love. Like this is a whole different spectrum,
Yeah.
dimension of self-love.
Yes. Yes. I was just about to say the same thing. A whole different dynamic of self-love. It just takes it to a whole nother level, which I think we're really in need of, because I feel, and I've witnessed even in myself growing up, like around this topic, like there's a lot of shame that we hold in our body. And so being able to access this point is really doing some deep, deep work, because that shame that so many of us hold in our body around our sexuality, around self-pleasure. So beautiful work that you're doing. Like how exciting to be able to just deepen into your own self-love as your own lover. Like, that's powerful.
Talk about the shame. Like, what are some of the ones that people come? Because I know yeah, have met so many different versions of it, and I would like to hear what some of the
Yes.
ones that you or the audience is experiencing, or your
Yes.
clients.
Sure. So I think religion plays a part in that as well. Like, thinking that self pleasure is something that's negative, and so that if you do that, then it's it's almost like you're doing something wrong. Like, your self pleasure is only to be given by your significant other, your husband, your wife. And so if it's anything other than that, like, there is, yeah, then it's basically a sin. And so having to get past that shame for a lot of people is like, that's a really big one that I see.
And it's one of the coolest things in terms of identifying that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Side note, when we actually clear those shames, we clear way beyond it because our pleasure is such a deep topic and
Yeah.
such a embedded identity of ourselves. How we treat shame and allow religion or allow messages to feel about ourselves will trickle into how we allow it to make it feel about ourselves in other contexts too. So when we are allowed to choose whether or not we feel shameful or not, we really liberate and give ourselves a choice. You can be like, yes, I respect these aspects, and but what is the truth? You know? I think one of the easiest ways, or not the easiest, but let's say one of the a very clear way to look at shame is, what is my truth? Shame is an emotion. Shame is a feeling of, okay, I'm gonna get strangled by humiliation. But what is the truth? Do I truly feel that loving myself is bad? Like, and what is bad? Is bad like a moral issue? Is bad like it's unhealthy? Is bad like it will be toxic to me? Or is it is bad like something that is disempowering? Like, what is bad, right? So it's to invite these questions of like, what is the truth? Do I feel more empowered if I allow myself to give myself love in the way that is true to me? And if there is shame, am I ready to look into it to see how? Because sometimes people find that they like really different kinks and stuff
Right.
as self pleasure. And that's really intense because sometimes you're like, I really don't want this to be true, but I see that this is true. So then how do I deal with that? So they're like, oh, I don't want to open this door of truth because it leads me down the rabbit hole of things I might not want to look at. If you like color pencil red and color pencil yellow and you really just want to close it in a safe and never look at it, that's totally cool too. If you want to take it out and draw a picture every once in a while, that's cool. If you want to really, paint with it, draw with it, um, draw on the wall with it, and you want to explore the full spectrum of it and understand it and come at it from a perspective of neutrality and curiosity, you might find that there might be learning things for you. There might be things that it wants to support you and it wants to be your friend too.
Right.
There might be something positive that comes out of it. It might reveal something, and it might even, and in some cases, there might be healing and growth and deeper understanding of yourself. And if you feel like this world and this journey of life includes self discovery and understanding, I don't see a deeper way and a bigger fast track than to understand your sexuality. And then from there, derive the confidence and the acceptance of your identity. It doesn't have to be fixed, right? Sexuality is constantly fluid. You might be interested in this yellow and red color pencil for one phase of your life, and then you've explored every single thing you can draw with it. And you're like, hey, cool. Like, I've actually tasted all the flavors of the ice cream from this ice cream shop. Now I'm going to go for go-karting, you know? And you might explore something completely different. And so if you never begin exploring, you'll never know where this windy path, if you never go on a hike, you never know what the view is going to look like. But once you get to the view, you might take another trail. And then once you get to that other trail, like, oh my God, there's a whole other island. Maybe there is a portal, this magic portal that you never even knew. And you go in that and it brings you to a different dimension. And, you know, so the life continues and the journey continues. And you never know if you don't look and explore with a who else is going to give you a safe space other than
Right.
yourself?
And if we can't give that to ourselves, then it's really hard to be able to see, I think, that safe space, or to be able to accept it. At least that's been in my experience. It's like if you don't provide that safety for yourself or know what that feels like inside your body. Yeah.
Then you can't
It's
ask for it either. Because then when someone's on top of you, or someone's like, when you're in an actual physical situation with another, if you haven't explored this, how are you going to communicate with the other person?
right.
Where you last left off. It's like reading a book, right? And you have a bookmark. You'd be like, yo, like, this is what I'm exploring. Do you want to go there? Like, how are you going to share that with them if there is no exploration? And then it's a different, you know, there's also a game where it's like, yeah, let me share with you like which parts of my body respond and how these respond in this particular way and that, and this is how I like it here and there. And so it also creates a lot more clarity. The biggest thing I hear men comment on is that they don't get specific feedback and precise feedback, and they want to win.
Yes.
They want to be good at it. And then for women as well, right? Women sometimes don't like it because they're like, I don't want you to tell me what to do, but you know, there's ways around it too. There's ways for sure. There was another thing that you said that I wanted to comment on. Okay, slipped my mind. What did you last
Yeah,
talk
that happens to
about?
me all the
I was
time.
like, I was riffing on you, you were riffing on me, and then I was like, okay.
That happens to me all the time. Yeah, I mean,
Communication. Yeah, in module 3, we do have communication. So during sex, literally sharing that. And the safe space. Okay, safe space, yes.
yeah.
So when you're in an intimate experience, the moment it feels uncomfortable is your cue to speak up. Pause. There needs to be a conversation about like, okay, how do we interact in a way that the moment something feels like it's off, we want to take a pause and take a deep breath. In improv, there's a game where the moment someone says, I don't know, paintbrush or flamingo, there's this one game, then everybody just takes a deep breath and says, what do you need? You know, it's like a safe word type of thing
Yeah.
for one of the games. And so that's the same thing, like a safe word. Just if you're trying to go for one of the beautiful games that we play in our Central Liberation program is playing a game of what is 100% aligned. What is the most 100% aligned pleasure I can have at this moment? It doesn't mean that it has to be perfect. It just means like right now, what will feel good? And if it feels it's going to a 70, it's going to a 60, it's going to a 40, it's going to a 20, it's going to a 0, I'm holding it in, I'm tolerating, it's a negative 20, it's a negative 50, it's a negative 100, it's a negative 150, like this is too long for you to wait to speak up. At the point you're realizing the deep decrease and de-escalation of pleasure is already the moment you're like, whew, can we slow down? This is overstimulating for me right now. And give me a moment. I need to recollect myself. And then I need to tune into where's my pleasure next. And can you do the same for you? How can you hold on to your pleasure while I can share with you where my pleasure is next? This is one of the communication tools that you can use. And there's so many more. And it's just to really be the driver of your seat, of your car, it's like giving you control and choice back in the micro moments that you're experiencing. And when we're talking about safe space for our bodies, our genitals, they want to be participating and they want to be heard in every moment. Like they want to be considered and cared for in every moment. They don't want you to ignore them
No, they
when
don't want
you're
to be
meant
ignored.
to be having fun. You're meant to be turned on. You're
Right.
meant to be aroused. They don't want any of that. They want to be real.
Mm. That's when the
They want to be on.
armoring also is caused by that, right? It,
What's that?
armoring,
Mm-hmm.
when we start to be put
Armory
up
is caused
walls.
by that.
Yeah.
You build walls. You get numb. You can't feel things. Um, you might feel pain
Hmm.
during entry, if you're a woman, and this is all caused by not like the trust needs to be rebuilt with our vaginas and our bodies as women, and then as men too. You know, sometimes they don't perform because there's performance anxiety, or there's premature
Yes.
ejaculation, or there's erectile dysfunction, and that's also because they may have pushed themselves because they need to be this man that is primal, that is like going and claiming his woman, you know, and that's really beautiful, you know, when it's authentic. But
Right.
don't do it to the point that it traumatizes your penis, and then makes him feel very tired or exhausted, or like in a way that it's like it's harder for arousal to begin and last. And then for women, it's really about like then going through these spots and reconnecting during self pleasure practice. Self pleasure practice could be a resensitizing process, reassociating, or because it
Yeah.
dissociates when we experience something negative. Instead of tolerating at negative 150 that we talked about earlier, then at one point it just shuts down. It's like, I'm just going to watch this. I'm no
Hmm.
longer going to participate. I will just pretend I'm here and be polite,
And you don't
and then we're
actually
gonna have a
experience
friendship
the full pleasure.
after.
You don't
What's
actually
that?
get to experience your full pleasure whenever you do that. Like it's
You're
so
serving.
yes. Hmm. And it's
You're putting
directly
yourself.
related to your voice too. As you
Hmm.
said, to be able to speak up, to learn the communication tools that you teach, to, and the resensitizing, those two go hand in hand.
And then understanding what's going to be better, because sometimes they're like stop, but they don't know like we don't know what we want next.
Mm.
So we need to train our brain during our self pleasure practice to understand, okay, what comes after this. It's like when you're playing a piano piece, you know, like what's note you, or cooking in a kitchen, you know that after you put the garlic in and you fry it, like what comes next, and what comes next. How do you chop the thing, right? But what if you like just chop one thing and you're like, okay, like what comes next? You don't know. So you got to like practice it a couple times so that you understand your body and how it works together, so that it's easier to give suggestions in a context when there's two. When there's two, it's always more distracting. There's like ADD happening because you're focusing on yourself, you're focusing on the other, you're focusing on the group experience of both of you. So there's more input of information, requires more clarity of what's happening,
And
and more
do
breath.
you, yes, and more breath. Breath is key to everything. Do you work with men and women? Or
Yeah, I
do
do. I
you?
work with both, and I also work with couples, typically, and all online. So this could be very much decoded.
So needed at this time as we're doing all this. I mean, sexual energy regardless is an important aspect to our transformation, and working with this energy and this self-pleasure and love, this deepening of self-love, and the way that you are working with it is so important for our growth individually and as couples. So I'm glad that you work with couples as well. Where can people find you, and where can
They
they
can.
do this work with you?
Okay, so I have a website. I have two websites. One
Okay.
is https dot slash tantrasingapore.com, which Tamar is going to be putting in the show notes below. And then you can also find me at on Honey Abundance on Instagram, or my YouTube channel, or also YOLOabundance.com, which is where the energy work and the leadership work is, because we also tie all of the sexuality stuff into now how are you going to show up for as a leader in your personal and your professional life.
Yes. I will put all of the information that we can find Hani in the show notes. Please connect with her, follow her, dive into this work.
Come find the juiciest part of yourselves. I'd love to just imagine happier genitals, more conscious genitals all around the world. And then humans and
And
hearts.
humans. Yes, it trickles down
At
to
the end of
that.
the day, it's about communication, it's about awareness, it's about liberation, right? And the beautiful work that you do as well, just to like be ready for change when the time
Yes.
comes, because you know yourself inside out so much already, so that you
What?
can flow with it. What's that?
Yes. Yes. Can you give us like
Yes.
one of your favorite things to do? Like, is there something like a ritual that you do around this every day for you that just lights you up that has to do with your your magnetism, your yes, whatever that is that you'd
You
like to
mean
share.
my self pleasure practice?
Yeah.
Your 1 minute self pleasure practice, 60 seconds.
Yes. Do you do that
Yes.
every day?
Ask yourself, how can you feel more love? If it treat it like a Duolingo challenge, treat it like a, I don't know, like a whatever streak thing that you gotta do before midnight. Best done first thing when you wake up. And
Okay.
just ask yourself, how can I love myself more? What do I need right now? Do I need touch? Do I need words of affirmation? What are the 5 love languages? Maybe you need all. And then give it to yourself as deeply as possible.
Mm. Oh, I
And
love
oftentimes the touch one is the hardest for some.
it.
The
I
deeper
can see that.
touches.
Yeah, I can see that. What a beautiful morning practice.
So yeah, and then every day you can pick a different. If you were to join the program, you get to pick a different practice. Like maybe today is a breathwork practice of self pleasure. Maybe today is a communication practice. Maybe today is just implementing this other thing, and it's to build your vocabulary of self love, and then automatically you're going to love and show up for the other person, and then they're going to automatically be trained to love you back because they're watching you through and learning through how you're doing it with you. And of course, you're going to share with them how to do it too, because now you know.
And the communications there too.
Communication, and then you get to co-create and build upon each other, and then it like one person will ping pong, and then it gets deeper and more loving, and you're like, wait, hold on, that direction didn't quite work. Can you tell me more about like what is it that I did today that made you light up? What do you find most attractive about me? And they're like, your boobs. And you're like, no, no, no. Tell me something about like my intellect or like my emotional ability or like my, so then you like filter it to then know how you feel touched inside with words or touch or presence. Training yourself to have the presence so the other person can hold that same presence for you.
I think when we can fill ourselves with pleasure and just like live every moment just connected to our pleasure as much as possible, then I think life really begins to shift. So this sounds so yummy. Hani, thank you so much for sharing all this with us, for sharing your light and your energy and your wisdom with us. And any last words that you'd like to share before we close today?
Yeah, just that triggers still exist, and chaos and destruction still exist, like we talk about in the beginning of our conversation today. And with this center as part of your centerpiece, it becomes ever more manageable. So you're also self-pleasuring through the hardest and most triggering times of your life. And sometimes it's crying through it. And so don't expect it to be perfect. Expect it to be real and expect it to get easier, more connected, and when you come out the other side, you become an even fuller like human flower or whatever plant you want to be.
Perfectly said. Beautiful example. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today and for being here. And for everyone else, we will see you next time. Follow Hani and check out her links in the